I think I always made the comment that once a miller, always a miller.
Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! Good heavens, he's done it again! Another promotion for the big man.
I've got 12 bottles of champagne in my office and we're going to drink them all night.
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast. We have pre-season action to talk about, a new signing, and that's it, really. And we'll talk about that for the hour. We'll talk about some good performances, some bad performances, and like I said, a new lad that's come in, which is a great story, which we'll cover. Mick, how are we?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. Thank you. Are you?
Yeah, very, very good. Thank you. You're back. We've missed you. We haven't seen you for like 10 days or whatever it's been.
It must
have
been
not been long enough,
you.
has it?
Must have been heaven for you. I'm sticking with Hammerby shirt today. Obviously, 3-0 win today. 1 point outside European places. So happy Sunday.
Oh, they're in European places.
Well,
top 4 go through anyway.
There you go.
There you go.
In that case, 1 place inside the European places. Look like top 3 according to me, but there you go. Who cares?
Yeah, it gets complicated. Anyway, we'll talk about this after. Danny's back. How you doing, Danny?
I'm doing all right, lads. Got the retro shirt on today, but I'm doing very well.
We should say, Danny did try and come on. We put the little episode with the Not Top 20, which came out Thursday. Danny did try and come on that show, but it was in an area where the sound would have been terrible. So I want to put Danny's efforts on record.
Joined it in. I was in the middle of Chapeltown, to be fair, because I was seeing Gabby, and I was like, I'm going to try and jump on this podcast for 20 minutes. It won't be long. Jump on, and then all the traffic decided to appear.
Yeah.
And then there were some people giving me a very funny look that I was just holding my phone out in front of my face, and it was just like, yeah, this ain't going to work, is it? But no, it was a great episode, to be fair. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, the good then, lads, and he's positive about us, which is nice. Tom, how are we doing, Tom?
I'm good. Went to, not that I endorse gambling, but went to races for a friend's birthday yesterday. So didn't win. So that's always fun. Spent way too much money, but, it's all part and parcel.
Yeah. Sounds fun, though. I've never been to, sounds like a good day, that.
Well, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's like football. You lose, it's not as good.
Exactly. Loads of people with us. Martin Holland, the Miller 66, Chris Page, YouTube viewers, Mike Carnell, Paula Rhodes, Richard, Cheryl Stone, Kelly Bobbs. There's loads of people in the comments today. Thank you for being with us so far. Let us start with the Jack Holmes story. Kelly Forbes is loving the Jack Holmes story. How refreshing is that? Let's hope it's a fairy tale for him. Yeah, so this kid 10 days ago, I think just over 10 days ago, signed for Stamford, played basically one game, scored a goal against us, came on trial, and is now a Rotherham United player, Mick. I mean, that's literally the dream, isn't it?
It's a bit of a whirlwind for that lad, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, they've obviously seen something in him. The bits I've seen of him, it looks a promising player. So, but yeah, I mean, how old is he? He's
22.
22. So, it's gone from being whatever he did for a living before 2 weeks ago to being a professional footballer now. So it's not bad, is it? Let's hope he ain't going to work a month's notice wherever he used to work. But yeah, so it's lowering the age of the squad as Mr. Evans said he were going to do. So
yeah. The Baldy Wolfer says, I tell you something, we found a gem in Holmes. He looks fresh, isn't afraid to take a player on. The key is he gets back and looked brilliant when he was against the Blazers, quality find. Yeah, Danny, we've never done this before. This is not something that the club have done by going in, dropping into non-league. The club have, I think, literally never gone into, certainly brought anybody in from non-league. So to go kind of this far down is a real step in a different direction for the club. But if he's good enough, he's good enough. He's got the contract, and you've got to trust Evans that he's seen something there.
Yeah, exactly that. Like I've just said, if he's good enough, he's good enough. I think he's jumped 5 divisions. I think it is to come to go and sign for us. And you don't really see it happening in football as much anymore. It tends to be academy players who never get into the first team, and then they just sort of disperse elsewhere. But no, this lad signed for Stamford, played 1 pre-season game, so he's never played competitively in that division, and suddenly he's a League One player. And Evans has likened him to '𝐤𝐿𝐴, which is like a hell of a compliment. All you need to look at the very brief highlights of the Sheffield United game for sort of like the assist that he gets. That's a hell of a ball that he's whipped in. That the keeper doesn't quite deal with, and the pace he's got running down that side as well. Again, like I say, if he's good enough, he's good enough, and he looks the fit. But I think one thing that we can all agree that he's very impressive about the lads is that we've seen a little bit of a spark in him, and he's come in and worked hard to impress, to earn something out of it. And fair play to him. I mean, we've got the the fairy tale of the season already from non-league to League One in a week. But I think the funniest bit of it all is how much Alan Swan at Peterborough Telegraph cried about it in his article. Goodness me. So whether it's like, he's never played a competitive game at that level. But he's in our team now, pal. Cry more about it.
Has he been whining about it?
He has, yeah.
Oh, you're joking. What? Is that because Stamford's near Peterborough?
It's because Peterborough were interested in him, and we've pipped him to another player.
Right. Does Alan Swan still live in 1950s when they have catchment areas? You know what I mean? What is wrong with him?
It's pre-season. He's getting himself in good shape for the season ahead.
Oh, Swanee is.
Yeah, he's just getting little bits in, and then when the season starts, he'll be, full tilt digging at everybody around him. It's just a slow start.
I look forward to it. I look forward to getting blocked by him again.
Do you think he's the type of guy to have his own pre-season where he slowly warms up his whinging until he gets to the finished article?
Well, listen, mate, I do.
Which bit are you on, Mickey? Are you still on the strength and conditioning, or
I've not even got to that stage yet, mate. We're 2 weeks out. 2 weeks out. I'm still in the considering whether I should do it or not stage.
A couple of people rightly mentioned that we did sign Tom Cahill from non-league. That was back in 2000. That was back in Millmore, 2006-07 time. Also, Hickway. People mentioned Hickway. He played for Tranmere, which I don't technically was in the conference, but it just don't feel like a non-league sign, does it, when you come from Tranmere? No. But yeah, those people are absolutely right. Chris Nichols also saying Jerry Forrest and Mick Goodin joined from non-league teams. There you go. I've been corrected, which is a good thing about doing this live. Let me throw a devil's advocate at you, Tom. And I don't necessarily believe this, but is it a good sign that the club are having to do this? They're not necessarily getting the right targets in out wide, and this is what they're having to do because of that. Again, I don't necessarily think that, but is that anywhere near? Could you argue that?
Yes and no, but I know you're only playing devil's advocate, but it wasn't a plan to sign him, was it? It was a pre-season game that he impressed at, and then they thought, well, they just gave him an opportunity, and he did play well off the back of that. I mean, that's all you can ask for, really. I don't think it was ever a case of we need more wingers, let's look in the non-league area. It was more of a case of we like the look of him, and he impressed. And by the looks of it, he sounds like he played very well against the Championship. So I didn't watch the whole game. Like Danny said, whipped in a good ball. Although I think he did a really heavy crap touch for it. But yeah, he's the sort of, last season we didn't have that kind of pace and excitement, and then we look like we have 2 of them now in Hungo and Holmes. So that's hopefully something that will get you off your seat, sort of attitude. But yeah, I just think it was. I just think it wasn't. No one ever scouted him. No one ever signed it. Well, thought about signing him, and he impressed Evans and the backroom staff, and thought, let's give him a go. Let's give him a chance, and he's played admirably. So deserves his crack at it. Whether or not we actually play him next season will probably be yet to be seen. I'm sure he'll play a part. not sure he's probably a starter yet. You don't want to throw him in immediately. But yeah, we've got a lot of pace out wide now, and apparently he's looking at another winger. So we'll see who that is. And sounds like we're in pole position, but never believe what Evan says after the whole Kayode situation. So
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's like that. That young French kid we signed under Warney a few years back that we were all excited about.
Julian Lamy.
And that didn't quite work out.
Did his brother end up buying a pub in town as well, Platinum Lounge?
I don't know.
That was such a bizarre turn of events. Come and meet Julian Lamy on opening night. It's like he's not played for us.
That's insane that you know that.
That is weird.
Yeah.
But Tom Case says that's how Rathbone ended up signing for us. Yeah, I think he's right in the preseason friendly against Rochdale, impressed, and went from there to Tatsby. Not so bad. What it does make one of the good things is it really gives us options there. We were sitting here kind of thinking about, you got Hungbo who can play as a winger, and that was kind of it. Nombe can do it, but you don't really want to do that, and this, that, and the other. We've got two proper wingers now, so if we really wanted to, if even if we don't sign anybody else, we've got two wingers. You've got a bit of flexibility in terms of what formation he wants to play going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And as somebody's just mentioned in the comment, Josh Caswell there, we also got Andre Green. New back. Yeah. I don't know whether he's back yet or not. He should be. I would have thought by now.
October's time still.
Right.
Yeah.
So that must be. Yeah, that's a horrific injury, that, isn't it? For that amount of time. But either way, he's going to be coming back. So yeah, it's a good signing. There's no doubt about it. And the lad's obviously got a bit of quality about him. Lacks experience massively, obviously. Yeah. But if he's got the confidence to mitigate that, then it's going to be a good signing, and hopefully we'll see some balls in the box, which we saw yesterday to a degree, and which we haven't seen for what feels like about 10 years now. I accept it's only a season, but it does feel a long time since we started putting balls in box. I'll get a sentence out at some stage. It might not all be in the same breath, but
you could for a podcast. That would be really helpful.
Well, mate, listen, if you edit it together at end, you might get a full sentence out of it. Be all right for all your listeners.
There were a few moments yesterday where I thought defensively he made a couple of bad decisions, a poor clearance, and this, that, and the other. But that kind of comes with this is the first time he's played against a good opposition. Even though it's been Alfreton and teams like this is a proper opposition. So hopefully he's a quick learner. Under Steve Evans, if you want to play, you've got to be a quick learner. If you make mistakes under Steve Evans in the league, you'll not last very long or not get any more chances. So he will have to. I'm sure he knows that as well, to be fair. But yeah, that's a great story. If it turns out to be a great player, which we all hope it does, again, what a great story it'll turn to be. So let's hope so. Emma Wood says, is Clark Harris the new captain? Yeah, Danny, yesterday Mr. Clark Harris had the captain's armband. I assumed it would have been Sean Raggett because that's just the kind of guy he seems to be for me. I could have picked probably 3 or 4 other people that I thought they might be captain. And I'm sure Jonathan Clark Harris isn't watching this, so I don't have to be too careful. But it does not seem like captain material to me in the slightest. I don't get that.
No, it were very interesting to see the C next to his name on the team sheet, that's for sure. But I don't know, maybe Evans is treating pre-season like testing who's the better fit and like the better organizer as a captain on the football pitch. He keeps giving people because I think we've had a different captain in every game nearly so far. But maybe it's just testing the water to see who's better at being vocal on the pitch, because I think that's the type of player that he wants to be captain, a very vocal player who organises and and sets up correctly. But Clark Harris seems very odd. I mean, don't get me wrong, he terrifies me every time he's on the team sheet with that picture of him. Whoever's
it's a terrible picture, isn't it?
I know. I don't know whether it's a joke and the media team are trying to do him dirty with the picture, or he keeps insisting on it to try and scare the opposition. But goodness me. But yeah, I agree with you, Matt. I'd say like Raggett's potentially a good captain, Rathbone as well.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe even Alex McDonald's, because in the games that he's played in as well. I mean, Evans said he's not going to play the full season, but he seems to be a very key player in that midfield. He's very much an anchor in the midfield. And I think he just understands Evans' way of playing, and he might be able to dish it out to the rest of the players potentially. But I agree, Clark Harris isn't a captain for me. Keep him as a goal scorer and not a captain.
Josh Castle said that Hacks could have done it. Some cases, I think so. Kelly, whenever he plays, which I don't think very often.
Kelly or Reece James as well, probably.
Yeah, that's a shout.
Yeah, Reece James has had it. He obviously didn't start, did he? He came on. Does it matter, Tom?
No, it's a title, isn't it? As much as it is a responsibility. I think for some people, like maybe Clark Harris, it's a responsibility. So he might not be the leader that potentially others are, but I think if you give him that responsibility, I think it might make him perform better or more amped up. So it works for some players. It doesn't work for others. I think Evans knows him well enough to know that it's probably going to amp him up if he gives it him. But yeah, I think in the long run, I don't think it matters really. Sorry, in the short term, it doesn't matter. I think in the long term, it maybe does, because you sort of want someone who's going to stick around. And, last season it was Sean Morrison, fine. But we all knew he wasn't quite going to stay on for as long as, as we would have liked a player. So if you do give it Hacks, I think, it could certify that cult status he'll have, sort of thing. But yeah, that's me.
I know he was captain of. I don't know if he was official club captain, but quite a few times I watched Peter where I did see him have the armband. So it may well be. I maybe will be massively underplaying him. Also, I'll add into the conversation, not a conversation, but to a point, is when Steve Evans has records for changing captains as well. He appointed Greg Halford in 2015, and within about 4 games, Greg Halford wasn't captain anymore. And Frecklington was given captaincy, and the legend grew for Lee Frecklington. So it's not set in stone. Even if it picks somebody, it's not necessarily set in stone. We'll see how that goes. I assume you don't care, Mick.
No.
Cool.
I mean, you've got me nailed there. Listen, it needs to be somebody who is, it needs to be somebody who's going to motivate the team, who's going to be that motivator. Sean Morrison, for all intents and purposes, in my view, was never ever going to be a stayer. Never really had the club at heart. He's only there for a few months, and he just wasn't. He wasn't committed to it. In my view, it appeared. I don't think if 𝐁𝐞𝐬𝐭 is the right person for it, then that's not a criticism of Hacks at all. It doesn't strike me as being that.
It seems quite quiet on the pitch.
It's quiet. He's a quiet, humble lad. He's not the type that's going to go around kicking people up backside, which is what Evans will want from his captain. You probably don't want Clark Harris kicking people up backside, because that's going to make injury list a lot longer. We're going to end up kicking him up backside at Ramler, they'll land at New York, won't we? So that's maybe not a good start either. It needs to be somebody in defence, doesn't it? So I think as you pointed out there, Raggett or Kelly perhaps sitting in front there. But we'll see. And they've got the experience as well, those two boys. So
yeah.
I think one thing that we've improved on last season already is that we're not short of leaders in the team now. It feels like we've got someone who will take control in more or less every third of the pitch, which is something we didn't have last season. It felt like Victor was the one leading the team a lot of the time, just through sheer willpower. But this season, it seems like we've got, Cam Dawson, who was a great talker and organiser, Raggett in defence, Kelly in midfield, and, like I say, maybe we're downplaying him, but even Clark Harris, maybe Hugo up top as well. There are people there who will take charge of a situation. So we're not exactly short this season, are we?
No, we're not. Josh Castle mentions Rafferty. Rafferty's a shout. He was in the thick of it yesterday when there was that really bad tackle on Nombe. Rafferty was right in the middle of that, which I was a big fan of in a friendly. That was a bad tackle, by the way. That was a red card in a league game by Arblaster, I think it were. Really, really bad tackle. I don't think it was necessarily on purpose. I think he might have misjudged it, but it was a really, really bad tackle. Thankfully, Nombe's all right though. One of the things that concerned me from yesterday, Danny, and there were 2 or 3 things actually, but one of the things that concerned me was set pieces. Now, from one tonight, the set pieces weren't that bad, but Ollie Rathbone took all of them. Now, we all watched Rotherham United for 46 games last season, and Ollie Rathbone's set pieces were nowhere near the standard, especially for a Steve Evans team. Now, if Ollie Rathbone's going to be the set piece man, that's a concern to me. I know he can improve. I know he can get better, but that's not Rathbone's strength, and that is a concern for me going forward. If he is the man,
yeah, it might depend on what instructions are given to all the players, and maybe it fell to him, or maybe the plan was to have it Rathbone on set pieces, maybe to know how to deal with bad ones. I don't know, but yeah, I think if the plan is to carry on with Rathbone at set pieces, it will change probably after about 4 games. You know, it'd be like a Greg Halford situation, like you mentioned before. But I think we need someone on set pieces who knows how to whip a ball. You know, someone of Holmes, but you know, like with a bit more experience. I've not seen much of the games this season, unfortunately, due to work. So, you know, people in the comments might be a bit more up to date with this, but we need someone who's able to whip a ball, get eye on it, but also able to drill the ball when as and when. But yeah, unfortunately, it's not Rathbone. He knows how to strike a ball. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's as good as others in terms of a dead ball situation.
No, he's not. Josh Caswell says, he can't cross the ball. Bless him. He says, 𝐁𝐿𝐴. I think Josh Caswell mentioned, beat me to it, Tom. I think Joe Powell is probably going to be the man. But if Joe Powell's all you've got, then that's a concern because he didn't start yesterday. He's not going to start every game, and he might get injured, he might get suspended. We've gone from being a team 18 months ago who had 4 or 5 players who could probably get really good set pieces, and we're maybe hanging everything on Joe Powell, which is a bit of a concern.
Sorry, Tom. Just one sec. Why is Joe Powell not going to start every game? Is he 90 or not?
Well, he's just not. Nobody's going to start. I think it's unlikely anybody's going to start every game.
But are we frightened about spoiling his pretty face, or is he too old? What is it? Why is he not like a?
This is from me. Steve Evans has not said anything. This is just me saying this.
Oh, sorry. Well, Matt, shut up. You can upset loads of people, particularly some of the women in comments here. If Powell's not starting, season ticket sales are going to go down. Attendance. Mate, you're just trying to go about money. What's wrong with you? Come on.
Yeah.
Calendar sales. Think it's that calendar that doesn't exist.
That's why he's not going to play every game. He needs to have his face pretty for the calendar shoot whenever it is.
Yeah. If they don't put him as star man on the calendar, they've missed a trick.
It needs to be February. I'm telling you, Powell needs to be February.
Why February?
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I'm with you. Sorry. Yeah. Fair. Anyway, Tom, back to the footballing point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, can our fullbacks not cross? Bramall. I don't mean. I mean James and Rafferty. They've I'm sure there's players within the squad who McDonald can put a ball in if he's playing. I thought Liam Kelly could, or maybe not. Green when he's back, Holmes seems to have a decent whip on him. I mean, there's a lot of set piece players. I do understand what you mean. We've not replaced Barlaser since he left with that sort of prime set piece passing ability. Thierry and Kelly are 2 fantastic players and can keep the ball really well, but in regards to picking out a killer pass, they don't quite have that X factor. So yeah, I think Powell for the majority is our set piece taker, but it's nice to have a right footer as well, which I think will be Rafferty or it probably will be Rathbone. But on those occasional, just on the occasional ones rather than being the primary set piece taker. But who knows? Hungbo might be a good set. I mean, have you seen Hungbo's free kick for some team in Scotland? I can't remember which one. Hamilton?
Ross County, wasn't it?
Huh?
I think it was Ross County, wasn't it?
Ross County, yeah. If you haven't seen that, go and give it a watch. Just type in Joseph Hungbo free kick. It's a thing of beauty. It's magnificent. So he can take him. Powell can take him. There's people across the board that can definitely take him. Whether or not they're to the ability that you want them to, not too sure. But yeah, we'll find someone to take him.
Yeah, we go back. If we go back a couple of years, we had Barlas. So when Barlas couldn't take it, he had Shane Ferguson. If Fergie couldn't take one, you probably had Ben Wiles took a few corners that weren't so bad. Even Joe Mattock, I think, took some. We had a list that we all knew that were quite good. I accept this as a brand new team, but I mean it was a slight concern to me because again, Rathbone's corners last year's times were pretty poor. Beating first man was an issue.
Yeah, it's like Harry Kane on corners, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's flashback material. That Harry Kane on corners. Whoa.
Yeah.
Right.
John Morrell says, knowing Steve Evans, he probably just put the smallest player on the corners.
Not a bad show.
It's possibly true.
That could, yeah, that's a fair shout.
Josh Gaspel says, hurt Powell and we riot. Paul Rhodes says, the photos of Powell do not do him justice. Just saying.
I told you. You need to listen.
Doug says, they are professional footballers. They should be able to cross the ball. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, we've done hundreds of episodes of the podcast. We should be good at this by now.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like that.
In the words of Paula, just saying.
The other big negative to come out, Mick, is probably going to be one of the talking points over the next 2 weeks, to be honest, with the goalkeeping situation. We obviously lost 2-1. The result's basically irrelevant. It's a friendly. It doesn't really matter. Sheffield United, I thought they were decent. But they won because of a goal very late on, which is a Dylan Phillips mistake. And I feel sorry for Dylan Phillips because I think he's clearly a decent goalkeeper and professional football if he wasn't. But it felt like a pretty basic mistake to make. And you've got two pretty level keepers. If he makes that mistake, I think he's going to struggle to get the number one shirt.
It depends what he's doing. Doesn't it? You know, it is one mistake. You know, and it is a mistake. You know, he's just knocked the ball straight back into the path of the striker. I mean, instead of putting it anywhere else.
Literally anywhere else.
Yeah, literally anywhere else. So yeah, it's a mistake. But we've said it before, and I'll say it again. You know, we have been so spoiled. You know, and if we end up with two bang average keepers, you know, they're going to be getting absolute pelters week in, week out, even though that they're pretty average for the league. You know, because we have been spoiled. So I don't know what Steve Evans is going to do in that regard. Whether Dawson's going to be sort of number one or whether it's going to be Phillips, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But you know, keepers will make mistakes. They all do. Even Victor made a couple while he were here for 4 years. But you know, yeah, I don't have a massive issue with it. I don't have a massive issue with it at all, to be honest with you. So yeah, it's his fault, and I'm sure he'll be hanging his head in shame as we speak.
In shame.
Yeah. YouTube says he doesn't impress him. Josh Caswell said he hasn't played much in the 12 months, but has progressed since Stoke away with the cup, which is absolutely true. Tom Casey, you guarantee that Twitter will be full of people saying Victor would have saved that first goal we conceded this season.
Mick, that's your tweet ready to go.
Yeah, 100%.
Correct. Danny, talk to me about it because he played a handful of games last year. I think it was 4 games with the two cup goals and 2 cup games. Sorry, where he conceded 6 against Stoke and then the 3 against Bristol, 2 against Cardiff. So the stats don't look great. He didn't have a great game against. I know he conceded a penalty, but there was other issues for his terms of performance. Against Cardiff, he pulled off a couple of good saves, but still maybe could have done better with the goals. So I'm struggling to make a case for him at the minute, and I would have preferred him to be in goal. I like Dylan Phillips. I like the story behind it. It's just not playing out yet for me.
I think it's very hard to pass judgment on Dylan Phillips based on last season, where the defence was so poor, and he was second choice keeper. I mean, we all know how good Victor is, but you know the running joke when he signed for Stoke is, "Oh, can't believe we've signed a keeper who's conceded 89 goals," and it's like, but that's missing the point of it. And I think with Phillips, there are a lot of factors that come into play with it. Like he was very rusty last season. His first game wasn't the best confidence builder, let's be right. The defence was absolutely atrocious. And that's in the games that he played fairly well in. It's like in the Cardiff game, he conceded twice. It was all right. In the Bristol game, he conceded 3, but that's the defence's issue as well. The blame can never truly lie with the goalkeeper. However, in the situation against Sheffield United, it did. Because it's one of those situations where, as a goalkeeper, when the ball is at that height coming towards you, you have to at least try and catch it, because it's perfect catchable high and he's on his way down. But his error comes in his decision making of trying to punch it away, because you don't want to be punching the ball away when it's at like waist height in the 6-yard box, because if there's an opposition player there, which there was, it creates a very strong goal scoring opportunity. But like people said in the comments, get those sort of errors out the way early in pre-season, and he did it against the one team that, let's face it, we weren't that high up on the list of wanting to beat them, because Sheffield United was like our test in pre-season to see where we are, and I think we held our own. I think without the error, it's a 1-1 draw, and you can say, yeah, we've played well there. Not in the first half, but in the second half, we came out better. And you can see that Phillips is absolutely devastated that it's happened as well. He's absolutely cursing himself. But if Evans gives him another chance, say against Grimsby or against Doncaster, he will now know how to rectify those mistakes. I know Steve Evans is very much a, one or two mistakes and you're out of the team sort of manager. But I hope he doesn't take that approach with Phillips, because I think we've not even had a chance to see the best of him this season at all. And that's just in pre-season. We didn't see the best of him last season because we were just poor. But I think to immediately cry wolf about a new goalkeeper after one mistake against Sheffield United, who have just come down from the Premier League and are now the division above us, is a bit harsh on Phillips. I think
No, Danny, you're not saying that some of our fans are going to be harsh on our players for making mistakes. Surely not.
I know. Shocking me.
That would never happen.
I know. Who would have thought it? But I think at this time it's pre-season. It's not defined Phillips' season at all. As the Cardiff game didn't define our season. We were a brilliant win against Cardiff, but we were shocking last season. But yeah.
Okay. I think Tom may come at a slightly different angle from the Dylan Phillips than you, Danny. Tell me what you think, Tom, about just Dylan Phillips and his chances to be number one against.
I think he's ruined him. I think he's absolutely ruined him. I think mistakes are fine. They happen. That's fine. But you can't. That wasn't a mistake that sort of happens. He didn't save it, and it wasn't just that in that game. It was when Kiefer Moore hit the post. He looked like he was in no man's land. I thought he was really average at the end of last season as well. I think he's a good one-on-one shot stopper, but I think in regards to everything else of his game, I think he's poor. I think he doesn't call. Well, I think he seems small with a. He doesn't have much of a stature about him. So I can't imagine him coming for corners, punching, all that. Distribution was god awful at the end of last season. And he's done that mistake. And if he's doing it now, when there's no pressure, there's you can play with as much freedom as you want. Sort of pre-seasons where players start, are better than in the actual season, and there's no pressure on him. Really tame shot, and he's almost pushed it out to him. It's not like it's hit with venom and he's just had to parry it. He's just he's physically pushed it out to the player coming. And if he does it now, he'll do it again. And if he's going to do it again, then why is he going to play again? Really harsh way of putting it, but I think he's lost his shirt like that. I think Cameron Dawson was always going to be number one, but I think he had a really, really good chance to stake his claim, and I think he's failed to do so. And it sounded like Evans was annoyed afterwards as well.
He went straight to point, Evans, didn't he? There were no beating around the bush whether it was he made a mistake kind of thing. It was
yeah. Which you can look at it two ways, but I think us knowing the character that Evans is, I think he's logged that one in the store book for future reference.
Yeah, I'm more in the Tom camp here. I think that's a a pretty basic thing for a goalkeeper to do. Is there's when you're making a save, there's if you're not going to hold the ball, there's one rule as a goalkeeper: do not push it back into the danger zone. Anywhere else is fine, and it's kind of a basic mistake. And again, I agree with Tom. I think Dawson was probably going to be number one, and I think Dawson is almost guaranteed to be number one. I thought before Dawson was a better keeper anyway, all round. Because again, Tom's right. Distribution is pretty poor from Phillips, but his shot stop is pretty good. I don't know. We'll see, but I just can't see him starting. Can't see him starting at all. Do you want to come in at all, Mick?
No.
Okay.
No. We've covered that. I mean, over and above that what is necessary. So no.
You say again? Sorry.
No, I don't. Are you listening? Hello? Can you hear me? Is this on?
I didn't hear the last thing you said. That's fine. Just Caswell says, in his opinion, he lacks confidence. He just needs a good string of games, but he does need to face some criticism when he makes mistakes. The problem he's got is that he doesn't have time for that because he's got a keeper who's at a similar level with him next to him. It's not like he's got a 21-year-old kid on the bench who he's guaranteed to be number two. He's out there fighting for the number one shirt, and you can't really make those mistakes and keep that number one shirt, even though he's not technically number one. Somebody asked about squad numbers. They're normally announced after the last friendly or just before the last friendly. So it'll be next week or so that we see something about that. Bit more transfer news, Mick. Josh Kayode has left the club. It is on loan, but I think he's in last year's contract. So there's a strong chance that'll be it for JJ. Unless he has an amazing first half of the season, they might come back. Might recall him. Change of tune from about 3 or 4 days before, where Evans said he was going to give him his chance. And do you think it's not maybe not just took the chance, or was Evans just kind of saying what he had to say? Really,
who knows? Who knows? I think anything that Steve Evans says with a pinch of salt. So I would suggest he's probably been told, yeah, you can stay and fight for your place, and he's been offered this move to Shrewsbury, and which is likely to get him probably start a first team berth. It's a shame for JJ, and I'm kind of sorry to see the back of him just because I wanted him to succeed.
Yeah,
well, he's made a glass, isn't he? That's the problem. You know, and he recovers from one injury, and then 2 weeks later he's got another one that's a long-term injury. It's unfortunate for him, but that seems to be the way his career's gone so far. And as a consequence for us, he's been a passenger realistically over the past however many seasons he's been with us, and it's quite a few now. There's obviously something there. You know, he's a player. There's no doubt about it. He's big. He's strong. He's quick. However, you know, he's just not big, strong, quick enough for long enough, is it? So hopefully he'll have a good season for Shrewsbury, and maybe that'll get him a move. Who knows? I don't know, but yeah, like I said, we'll have to wait and see. He's had his opportunities, both with us and with Carlisle, and unfortunately never have been able to get a run of games. Yeah, it frees up the space, doesn't it?
It does free up space, yeah. Tom Case says his chance probably means going out on loan rather than potentially leaving permanently, yeah. Mike Cornell says, how many chances does JJ need? Philson said it before, at 24-year-old, how many pre-seasons are we going to say that he could do well?
We do that every season, like Phil said there, and then within 2 or 3 weeks, he's out with a long-term injury. You know, it's like, well, you think we should know by now. He's going to have a crap season this year. It's going to be absolutely dog-awful.
Would you be happy or annoyed if he did have a good season? And I mean, like 20 goals.
I've got your back covered. JJ, I've got your back covered, mate. You're having a crap season. It'll be injury-free, 30 goals to Shrewsbury.
Yeah. I think I'd be happy if he went on to have a good season. I'd be happy, really happy for him.
Yeah, I agree.
I just don't think it's going to work out. It just doesn't seem to want to work for us at the minute. You know, fate doesn't seem to want it. No. And it's interesting, Danny, because he had the opportunity to leave permanently last year. The strong reports were that Barnsley offered him a permanent deal that we were happy to accept but he then chose to go on loan to Carlisle. So for me, it makes it even more of a shame. He wanted to be here. He wanted to succeed at this club. He wanted to go away, get better, then try again and come back. And it's just, like I say, it just doesn't feel like it's meant to be, which happens, doesn't it?
No, I mean, bless him. JJ's career has been more stop-start than a dodgy stream, hasn't it? Because he's like, oh, he'll go and do well somewhere. Like Mick says, long-term injury. Like we all thought he'd do well for Carlisle on loan, but then he gets hit with a massive long-term injury, and then because of said injury, can't get back into the Carlisle team. But I agree with what Evans said. Like right at the end of the the interview with him in the Advertiser, he says he needs to go and play football. And it's like, yeah, it does. Unfortunately, with like Clark Harris, Hugill, Nombe, and the wingers that we've got as well, there are just too many players in front of him in our squad at the minute for him for it to have any sort of impact on his career. And he needs to go and play somewhere. And fingers crossed, this is the season that he stays injury free and does make an impact at Shrewsbury. If he does, then there's a strong shout for renewed terms on his contract. But if he does,
back in January, if he has a good first half, it'll be back in January. I think.
Yeah, if he has a good, like you say, if good first half, then he's back and he's competing for a place. But he needs minutes. He's played only a handful of games over the last 3-4 years. Like it was good in League One for us last time when he came on the pitch occasionally. Like he scored his first goal against Wimbledon, but for a club, for a 22-year-old to just get his first goal after being with the club for however many years, it just feels like he's not got out of first gear with us anyway. And he's one of them players where you just hope that he does well for the sake of himself and his career, and he comes back in January or in the summer, gets a new contract and really hits the ground running, or it'll end up like a Jerry H situation where he'll leave and be absolutely red hot for somebody else, and we'll go, oh, if only we kept him for a bit longer.
Yeah. But hopefully we'll get sell on close and we'll make a load of money off him in a few years.
Yeah.
Jerry.
But I think the Barnsley permanent thing shows that he wants to succeed at this football club. He's got the desire to succeed, and it was transfer listed by Evans, but he's obviously worked hard and he's sort of second guessed it. Because I think if it was completely not in Evans' plan when the Shrewsbury loan appeared, he would have gone permanently. And then Evans like, right, we've got rid of him, transfer listed, done. But the fact it's a loan, I think, shows that Evans has still got a bit of an eye on him. Because if he were gone permanently, never in the plans, but he must have done something in training for him to have a second look. But again, the quality in the team, he's not going to get in it right now. He needs football. And maybe Shrewsbury's the answer. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Matt Dye says Kayode is the same age as Holmes. Weird how we feel so different towards them. I guess wages will be a lot higher. Yeah, that's true. Let's talk about some positives, though. Tom, with positives. Hungbo got the goal. It was a good cross from Holmes. Eventually got to Hungbo. He is exciting. He is going to be bums off seats kind of player. He's got everything that you kind of want in an attacker, whether he plays on the wing or not. He's got everything you want in an attacking player.
Yeah, it was a good finish as well. Really good finish. I think he has a lot. I think he has a lot more to him than we've had previously out wide, as in more of a package deal. He's quick, direct, skillful, can put a good cross in, and hopefully a goal scorer. He seems really, really good. But it's another case of, does he get in the starting 11? He might be one that isn't guaranteed a place, which is ridiculous to think because of how how actually skillful and powerful and better than League One that he looks. I think it was such a great signing in the first place. I think he'll blow away League One, but I don't know how many games he's going to start. It's going to be ridiculous to guess. But if he does start, I think he'll impact games in ways that Ogbeni used to, and really dictate a game. I think if he has a good game, we'll collectively have a good game. And I think if he goes missing, which it sometimes happens, I think it'll be tough to get a tune out of him. But yeah, really, really positive first 3-4 games he's had. I'm really excited to watch him.
Yeah, me too.
And I think that's a key word as well, excited. I've not said that about a player for a while. Genuinely excited to watch him play. I think it'll be really, really fun to watch.
Completely agree. Let's talk about the way they set up, Mick, particularly in attack. Obviously, again, there's 2 more games before the season starts, but I think Daniel Tom mentioned this was probably our big test in terms of the season coming up. You start with kind of a front 3 of Clark, Harry, Hugill, and Nombe kind of played just behind as a 10. Now, it didn't work because Sheffield United are a good team. But to me, it makes sense that it didn't work. I feel really sorry for Nombe. He's just getting plunged around wherever we kind of need the space to be filled.
Yeah.
It didn't work. Do you just throw the baby out of the bathwater because second half did work? Or do you say Sheffield United, it probably needs another go against somebody else?
You're not going to get as many teams in League One who are going to want to play out from the back with the ability to play out from the back. You're going to get loads of teams who want to play out from the back. Most of them won't be able to. United have come down from Premier League, as you mentioned earlier on, and there will be a top-end Championship side. They have got the quality of player that they can do that. So it's going to depend on who we're playing. I don't think, this. Well, we always play 4-4-2. We always play 3-5-1. Whatever. That's not how it works. That's not how football works anymore. It changes when you're in possession or out of possession. It changes. It can change mid-game. It can change. We have these discussions regularly on here about, we're playing these there and that position. It makes no difference. We might play that position minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes throughout the 90, but it's very fluid. It's very, very different, very, very changeable, depending on lots and lots of variables, including who you play. You're going to set up 3-5-3, 3-4-3, whatever it is. It's not, is it?
Extra
4-3. You'll set up 3-5-3, hopefully, if nobody notices. But yeah, it's a pointless discussion in my view. Genuinely, it is, because we've got players for each position, and also we've got players who can adapt dependent on what formation we're playing. So, why do we even discuss it? I don't know. I know it interests some of you guys. I couldn't care less.
I'm more thinking about Nombe having to play as in that deeper role when we didn't see him do it all last season. I don't know that he did that for Exeter. I feel sorry for him having to just do everything.
Yeah, I agree, and I suspect that Steve Evans possibly don't like Sam Nombe. That I don't know why. I've got no basis for that comment whatsoever. It's just a feeling that I have. Because the people the type of player that he's brought in, he may see him as a different player. He may see him as a number 10. I don't know, and that arguably could be a good position for him. Because he has got the pace, he has got the strength, he can finish, and he can pick a pass as well. So, that who knows? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But the combination, the team sheet is going to change week in, week out, depending on who we're playing. The formation is going to change. All we know is it's probably going to end up with lots of balls in box, which is what we've been screaming for. We don't want to come in for a goalkeeper, which is what happened last time. But let's have him in box. Let's start because we have so badly missed that.
Yeah. Well, if you got John Hugill and Johnson Clark-Harris up top, and you put balls in the box, there's going to be some headers won in there, isn't there?
They're fighting for each other to get on the ball.
Yeah, I mean, they might not be on target, knowing both of them, but they'll certainly win the header. Something will happen. We'll have to wait and see what happens with them. Do you have any comments on formation, Danny? On what you think? Down to what you think?
I think again we've sort of played a different formation quite like in every game in pre-season. So I don't know. Maybe it says that we're going to be a bit more fluid with formations. Like under Matt Taylor, it was a very rigid approach to a formation. Well, I suppose it's the same under Paul Warne as well. To a point, it was a very rigid approach to formation, but it sort of strikes me that it's going to be a bit more fluid formation. I think obviously they'll have the formation you line up with. You know, we're not going to be playing Rafferty as a centre forward, for example, but in terms of how we match up against different teams, every team will bring something different to the table. And I think we're learning how to be more fluid with formation to match up another team and play, you know, through them effectively and break down their approach to the game. So yeah, I sort of like that it's a bit different because, you know, we've sort of shown against Sheffield United that Evans can get it wrong with formation. The first half of formation was wrong, but in the second half, we rectified it to something that we know a bit more about, which I believe was a 4-3-3 in the second half.
I think so.
And suddenly we're on the ball a lot and we're moving it faster and we're playing a lot better. So, again, fluidity. Evans is a man that's not scared to change the formation if it's not working, which is great to see because under Matt Taylor and Lee Richardson, it was very rigid and they didn't really change the formation. But if they did have to, they'd make it with substitutes. Whereas I think Evans will manipulate different players in different positions to play a different formation rather than having to rely on subs.
Possibly. Let's move forward. We've got two friendlies left. Grimsby on Tuesday and then the Woody Testimony against Doncaster on Saturday. A note for everybody who hasn't seen this yet. Thanks to Rusford for letting us know. The Grimsby game is on their channel. I don't know, Mariners TV, I think it's called. If you want to pay a £5, you can watch that pre-season friendly. I don't know if the club are doing one for the Woody game. I doubt it, to be honest, because the one at Sheffield United one was, although Toddy was on commentary.
I know.
2 games left, Tom. In terms of pre-season, is there anything you want to see? Is there still question marks, or is it just getting through these games fitness-wise, and then we'll see it up at Exeter?
Yeah, formation-wise, no, I'm kidding. I just think, I think we really just need to. I think it's. What's that really football for patterns of play? You just want to create those sort of patterns of play, don't you? It's sort of
low block. We need to play low block, Tom.
We need to play a false
transition.
I think it's just all about getting minutes, though, isn't it? Really, McWilliams and Clark Harris, especially because they've not played nearly enough. I'd give Holmes a full 90 minutes now that we've signed him, and I think it's just about seeing Kai as well in the next game.
Yeah,
against Grimsby, he's been confirmed to be able to play in that. And I also think we need to have a look at positions that we need to strengthen. Evans has said winger. A winger and a striker, and he's already in talks with a winger. I really think we need to be looking at a centre half and a right back, not because there's anything wrong with the ones that we have, just for depth purposes. But that's all that we've got for Grimsby. There's nothing really to have a look at other than giving players minutes. Like I said, I'd give McWilliams and Clark Harris a full 90 along with Holmes, and give Kite, a significant chunk, and see where he goes from there.
Do you remember last season when Matt Taylor talked about trialists and the rules that were in place for trialists? There were because we had a few trialists on, and he kind of said that you're limited to like 2 games and like a week's worth of training, and that's all you're allowed. It feels like Kite's been with us for about 2 weeks, and this will be his 3rd game if he plays against Grimsby. So
valid point. Maybe it's different in League One to the Championship.
Paul Davis put an article out today, and it mentioned some sort of rules and stuff, and you can play. It's some new rule. You can have the trialists can play as often in a 28-day period as they want.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
I assume it's changed.
Yes. Sorry. I'll take that back. I don't know if it's changed or if it's new or what. But that's the rule that Paul Davis stated in his latest article. So there's 28 days that you've got to play.
Yeah, fair enough. That's good. That's a good change, to be fair. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
Turns out it works, I suppose. I don't know. I've got anything else we need to mention, boys?
Adam Peaty just came second.
Did it?
Yeah, like half a second. That's why I went, oh, yeah.
It was like when we did the England watch along and you saw the goal going before anybody else.
Yeah, I've just seen what our season's in store for.
Can we mention Lee McMahon, LPMC's new single out on the 9th of August? If you go to lpmcmusic.com and pre-save it now, please get over there. I'm sure it'll be as good as all the other singles off that EP. And 20th of September, Chantry Brewery, tickets are still on sale. I think there are still some left for the next live gig. So let's support Lee. Please get out there.
Yes.
That was a bit pleading, that, weren't it?
That was a bit beggy, that.
It was a bit beggy, yeah. I didn't like that. I'm not comfortable with the way that went. Yeah, I've got some at Matt.
We'll fix it in post. We'll fix it in post. It's not like we're live or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kelly's just a couple of things. Kelly's asking if Exit Games on telly yet. Will be on Sky Sports Plus, which launches on the 1st of August. They've got a brand new. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know what it is. I assume it's an on-demand service, but it will be on television. If you've got Sky Sports subscription, you can watch it as part of that. So yeah, that could be fun. Let's not get any further into Sky Sports at the minute. Let's leave that one there for the fans, except when they move kickoffs. Anyway,
yeah.
Also, that's worth noting. But within the next 2 weeks, all the televised games up to Christmas will be announced. That's before the start of the season. So get ready for, again, don't plan anything beyond September at the minute, because there will be some changes between then and Christmas time. So that's something to watch out for in the next week or two. As I mentioned, put a tweet out today, we're going to look at doing we talked last season about doing a phone-in show where you guys can come on and, I don't know, like a praise or grumble kind of thing, but Rotherham specific. So at the minute, we're planning next Tuesday to do that. It might not be live. We may pre-record and put it out, but we'll put a link out on Twitter and Facebook and wherever else. You can then join the link. We'll then bring you up on screen and we'll talk about Rotherham for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it may be. And we'll see how it goes. If it goes great, then we'll keep doing it, because I think it's a good idea. If it goes badly, then we can knock it on the head, can't we? Which is great news for everybody here. We are back on Thursday, which is the predictions season starts. Yes. We were going to go through Thursday and Sunday. We're going to try and get everybody on who normally comes on. They're going to go give us their predictions so we can laugh at each other in about 10 months' time. Because we don't know any of the players.
I can't predict Tommy to do well again. Bloody hell.
You can.
He'll do well for Northampton now.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll arrange something for that one. And then the season's here. After the next 2 episodes, the Thursday after that will be the preview show for the Exeter game. So we're nearly there. Quite excited for the new season, to be honest with you. So proper football. Not heartbreak as we experienced in the summer with England, but different kind of heartbreak. We can't go. We go wait till May to get us heartbroken this time. But yeah. Last call. Anything else?
No.
Fantastic. Thank you all for being with us. Make sure you have subscribed on YouTube if you haven't done so already, and like it. Give the video a thumbs up if you haven't done so already. If you're on iTunes or Spotify, make sure you've subscribed and give us a 5-star rating. And if you're watching on Twitter or X, make sure you've followed us and give the post a share, because that'll be lovely as well. Like I said, we're back Thursday with the pre-season prediction show. And we'll maybe talk about the Grimsby game if anything interesting happens, which you probably won't, because it's a friendly. Mick, thank you all for being with us tonight. Your microphone has improved. It's not perfect, but your microphone has improved tonight.
At least you can hear me, which, I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, if I'm honest.
Something. Something.
Yeah.
Danny, thank you very much for being with us again, mate.
Yeah, always a pleasure, lads. Always a pleasure.
And Tom, thank you as always. I know that somebody else's dog disturbed you in the back.
Yeah, that was nice. Yeah, that was fun.
Thank you, everybody. We will see you next time. And up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
I think I always made the comment that once a Miller, always a Miller.
Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! Good heavens, he's done it again! Another promotion for the big man.
I've got 12 bottles of champagne in my office and we're going to drink them all night.
Do me a favor, drop me off in